Hello boys and girls, welcome to Mrs. Spandu's Math Movies. This is Course 2, Lesson 7-5, Congruent Figures. Our objective is to identify congruent figures and to use them to find missing measures. Okay, so let's start with definitions here. Congruent polygons are polygons with the same shape and the same size. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward right there. Most of us, you know what that means. The symbol for congruent, again, just to remind you, is an equal sign with the little squiggle over it. I call it a squiggle for lack of a better term. I'm sure there is one, just don't know it. Okay, identifying congruent figures. Are the figures congruent or not congruent? And explain. So I have a pentagon ABCDE, and I want to find out, is pentagon LMNOP congruent? Okay, so what I want to do is, because I have the dot paper, I can actually compare lengths even though they are not numbered. Okay. So segment AB is congruent to segment LM. Segment BC is congruent to segment MN. Segment CD is congruent to segment NO. I'm just marking this along the way so I don't get lost, by the way. Segment DE is congruent to segment OP. And segment EA is congruent to segment PL. Notice these are all segments, so I'm using the segment symbol on them. Be sure that you do that as well. Similarly, we can match up the angles. Having the same shape and the same size means that they're going to have congruent sides and congruent corresponding angles. Congruent corresponding sides, I should have said. Okay, so I'm going to start with A. Angle A is congruent to angle L. Angle B is congruent to angle M. Angle C is congruent to angle N. Angle D is congruent to angle O. And angle E is congruent to angle P. The figures are congruent because their sides are congruent, their corresponding sides are congruent, and their corresponding angles are congruent. Alright, so you have a quick check here to answer about that. Be sure that you explain. We'll move on to examples. Remember, you may pause now or come back later, whatever is most convenient for you. Whatever you like to do is fine. Okay, in the figure at the right, is the figure at the right congruent to the figure at the left? So what we're going to do is let's figure out. Okay, so if I look at segment AB, okay, that is the same as segment QP. So segment AB is congruent to segment QP. Segment BC is congruent to segment PO. So again, I'm just marking these, not truly with the congruent symbol in the normal use of it, just so that I can keep track of what I'm looking at. Segment CD is congruent to segment ON. Segment DE is congruent to segment NM. And segment EA is congruent to segment QM. No, I'm sorry, MQ. Sorry. Now notice that I have matched up AB, okay? So A is going to match Q, B matches, yes, A matches Q, B matches P. So I'm putting it in that order, Q, P, and so on. Okay, so remember we've talked about this some in class, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. When they're corresponding, you want to match them up in the order in which they match. In other words, if I'm going to write them or match them up, the way I say it is the way it could be drawn out and they would match up. Okay, so all corresponding sides and angles are congruent, so the figures are congruent. Working with congruent figures. The triangles are congruent. Write 6 congruences for the corresponding parts of the triangles. Basically, what that wants you to do is match up the corresponding parts. So I'm going to start with, and I'm going to jot myself a little note here off on the side. Okay, I have triangle FED, so FED. Okay, that matches triangle QPO. If I'm not sure, I can always trace one and lay it on top of the other and see how they match up and so forth. But F is going to match Q, E matches P, D matches O. A little bit of what I was referring to back here in example number 2. So angle Q is congruent to angle F. Angle E is congruent to angle P. And angle O is congruent to angle D. All right. Now, segment DF is congruent to segment OQ. Segment EF, so EF, is congruent to segment PQ. And segment OP is congruent to segment DE. Okay, again, notice I am using my symbols. You want to use those as well. And sometimes by writing this out like this, you can sort of it helps you match up parts, and then also helps you check yourself once you've determined things that are, in fact, congruent. Okay, or corresponding. All right, so now you have a couple more quick checks on this. Be sure to bring in any questions you might have. I look forward to seeing you soon.